What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for MLB Tuesday, May 3rd.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon.
so you don't miss our new videos.
In this video, I'm going to go over my top DFS picks for today's MLB slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have an 11-game slate tonight. So let's take a look at the pitcher position. So the two studs that I like on the slate here are Alek Manoah and Joe Ryan. And out of those two guys, I think I prefer Joe Ryan. He's only giving up a .441 OPS versus righties. And he's facing 5 righties here tonight. He is pitching against the Baltimore Orioles, who have a low salary batting team. Joe Ryan is averaging 41 fantasy points per game on the season, has an ERA of 1.17, record is 3-1 on the season, pitching an average of 82 pitches per game. He's $10,200 FanDuel salary, $700 less on DraftKings. So I like Joe Ryan here versus the Baltimore Orioles. But now if you want to save some salary at the pitcher position, take a look at Paul Blackburn. And he's pitching against a low salary batting team, the Tampa Bay Rays. Paul Blackburn only giving up a .626 OPS versus righties, pitches his best ball versus righty batters, facing 5 righties here tonight. Now the Rays have only hit 1 of his last 11 pitches, so it's a small sample size, but a good start. And Paul Blackburn is only $8,400 FanDuel salary. He's $700 less on DraftKings, and he's averaging 31 fantasy points per game on the season. He has an ERA of 1.35. Record is 3-0, and pitching an average of 73 pitches per game. So I like Paul Blackburn here versus the Tampa Bay Rays. Okay, moving on to the catcher first base position. A stud pick that I like here is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He has a 72% batting advantage over Jameson Taillon because he bats 48% better versus righty pitchers with a 1 OPS versus righties. And Jameson Taillon pitches 24% worse to righty batters. He pitches his worst ball versus righty batters, giving up a .847 OPS versus righties. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is 3 for 9 with a 1.11 OPS versus Taillon. He's $4,100 FanDuel salary, $1,300 more on DraftKings, and he's averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season with a batting average of .277. So I like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. as a stud pick here versus Jameson Taillon. Now I also like Josh Bell. So this is interesting. He's got great splits here versus Josh Bell. He's got a 50% batting advantage, bats 12% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .932 OPS versus righties. But German Marquez also pitches his worst ball versus switch hitters, 38% worse than his other pitches, giving up a 1.165 OPS versus switch hitters. But these batter versus pitcher stats here, they stick out like a sore thumb on Josh Bell, and they are a little bit cause for concern or caution. So despite those fantastic splits, Josh Bell has only hit 1 of 18 pitches from Marquez. He has a .056 batting average. Now, that one hit is a home run, so I don't know if this guy's just going up there knowing that he's got the good splits and swinging for the fences, He's $3,900 FanDuel salary, $600 more on DraftKings, averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season, has a batting average of .351, so he's swinging the bat well this year, and Vegas thinks there's going to be 10.5 runs scored in this game. That's their over-under, so a lot going for this pick except for the batter versus pitcher stats, but sometimes, you just got to throw that out. It's a new season. He's hitting the ball well. Maybe he knocks one out of the park here versus German Marquez. So I like Josh Bell here versus German Marquez. Now, here's a value play. I like Daniel Vogelbach with a 93% batting advantage over a low-salary pitcher, Michael Pineda. Daniel Vogelbach is batting 43% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .832 OPS versus righties. Michael Pineda pitching his worst ball versus lefty batters, 51% worse than his pitch to righties, giving up a 1.158 OPS versus lefties. Daniel Vogelbach is 1 for 5 versus Pineda. That one hit was a double. He's only $2,600 FanDuel salary. Now he is $2,100 more on DraftKings, so I love that FanDuel price, averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season, and he has a batting average of .292. So I like Daniel Vogelbach here versus Michael Pineda.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching.
If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal,
all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won.
And we'll send you $25 PayPal.
So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Now I also like Jose Abreu with a 51% batting advantage over Drew Smyly. Jose Abreu with a 21% or batting 21% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a .888 OPS versus lefties. Drew Smyly pitching his worst ball versus righty batters, 31% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .832 OPS versus righties. And I like this pick because Jose Abreu is he is 6 for 11 with a .545 batting average and a 1.545 OPS versus Smyly. So great batter versus pitcher stats here. And he's only $3,100 FanDuel salary, $900 more on DraftKings, averaging 8 fantasy points per game on the season. He has a batting average of .224. So I like Jose Abreu here versus Drew Smyly. Okay, let's take a look at the second base position. I do like Javier Baez here. He's only $3,200 FanDuel salary, $1,300 more on DraftKings, averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season with a .292 batting average. And here's a value play. Take a look at Chad Pinder with a 13% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Ryan Yarbrough. Chad Pinder batting a .667 OPS versus lefties. Ryan Yarbrough pitching his worst ball versus righty batters, giving up a .822 OPS versus righties. And Chad Pinder is 4 for 5 with a 1.833 OPS versus Yarbrough. He's only $2,500 FanDuel salary, and he's $500 less on DraftKings. So this guy's like minimum salary, only averaging 10 fantasy. He is averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season, which is pretty good for a near minimum salary. And he's got a batting average of .288. So a lot going for Chad Pinder here versus Ryan Yarbrough. Sorry guys, I'm kind of like stumbling through this. I think I'm trying to go a little bit too fast because I've got something I got to do, so I really apologize for that. But I got to get these videos done every day, no matter what comes up in my life, whether I'm sick, whether I got to go do something, I will find time to fit these in. So, taking a look at the, the third base position here, I like Gio Urshela with a 34% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Bruce Zimmerman. Gio Urshela is batting 25% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a .782 OPS versus lefties. Bruce Zimmerman pitching his worst ball versus righty batters, giving up a .743 OPS versus righties. Gio Urshela is 0 for 3 versus Zimmerman, but he's only $2,600 FanDuel salary, $500 more on DraftKings. Now, he's only averaging 6 fantasy points per game on the season, but he does have a batting average of .258. He's just on a super cold streak right now. Hasn't scored in the past 4 games. So I do think he's due for a hit, and he's low salary. So I like Gio Urshela here versus Bruce Zimmerman.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, let's take a look at the shortstop position. I think Willie Adames is in a pretty good spot here versus Tyler Mahle. He's got good splits. Willie Adames batting 18% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .838 OPS versus righties. Tyler Mahle pitching 21% worse to lefties as he does righties, giving up a .782 OPS versus righties. And Willie Adames is 3 for 6 with a 1.738 OPS versus Mahle. One of those hits is a home run. He's $3,500 FanDuel salary, $1,600 more on DraftKings, averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season, has a batting average of .230. So I like Willie Adames here versus Tyler Mahle. I also like J.P. Crawford, and I already gave you Javier Baez. Now I also like Carlos Correa, and I already gave you Gio Urshela. Okay, moving on to the outfield position. Of course, I like Mike Trout. He's in a pretty good spot here versus Michael Wacha. So I like Mike Trout. I like Juan Soto with a 20% batting advantage over German Marquez. Juan Soto is batting 27% better versus righty pitchers, batting a 1.048 OPS versus righties. German Marquez giving up a .697 OPS versus lefties. And Juan Soto is 3 for 8, batting a .375 with a 1.250 OPS versus Marquez. One of those hits is a home run. He's $4,100 FanDuel salary, $700 more on DraftKings, averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He's got a batting average of .262. And I like this game because Vegas thinks there's going to be 10.5 runs scored in this game. That's their over-under. So I like Juan Soto here versus German Marquez. I also like Byron Buxton here versus Bruce Zimmerman. But the guy that I like, this is my home run hitter. It's Charlie Blackmon with a 41% batting advantage over Eric Fedde. Charlie Blackmon is batting 20% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .825 OPS versus righties. Eric Fedde pitching his worst ball versus lefty batters, giving up a .862 OPS versus lefties. And Charlie Blackmon is 5 for 7. That's a .714 batting average and a 2.143 OPS versus Fedde. He's $3,800 FanDuel salary, $1,100 more on DraftKings,
averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He has a batting average of .257. And this is also a high-scoring game here. Vegas thinks there's going to be 10.5 runs scored in this game. So I like Charlie Blackmon here versus Eric Fetty. Now, another value play that I like quite a bit here tonight is Austin Meadows with a 25% batting advantage over Bryce Wilson. Austin Meadows batting 15% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .836 OPS versus righties. Bryce Wilson pitching his worst ball versus lefty batters, 10% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .864 OPS versus lefties. There's no at-bats versus Wilson yet, and Austin Meadows is only $2,800 FanDuel salary, $1,100 more on DraftKings, averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season, and he has a batting average of .319. So I like Austin Meadows here versus Bryce Wilson. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this MLB slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.